Life can be so challenging. Where can you go to get divine clarification, help, and advice? Well, may I introduce Natasha Venter, medium, coach, and direct connection to your guides and angels. Through her podcast, Life Clarifications, Natasha will help you navigate through and create your life's destiny. My name is Kevin McDonald, co-host of this podcast, and I've seen her work and know that through her incredible talent, you can be changed forever. So let's start another episode of Life Clarifications with Natasha. And welcome everybody to Life Clarifications with Natasha. That's her over there, and you probably heard her for the 2 hours before this one because she was with the Lunch Club and did a fantastic job, I must say.
Well, thank you very much. It's a joy to be with everyone because it's just been, they talk my language.
It really is. And I would like to, before we begin, I would just like to say that in the path that we are all walking, it's really important that we find a group of like-minded people that we can appreciate and we can interact with and we can have a good time talking to. And this is that forum. So if you would like to talk to us on like Mondays with Regan and Natasha, or Wednesdays with the Lunch Club, or this forum, or any of the other ones that we have, we are interested in helping humanity grow and giving a little bit of light and a little bit of love to everybody that's out there. So I really appreciate people that are starting to tune in, that are finding us. Please find us, tell your friends about us. Also subscribe to the channel so that we can grow and we can touch more lives, which is what we are all about. By the way, just so you know, none of us get paid for any of this.
No. It's all free of the heart, soul, and love. And that's the thing that I really want people to know is that when I have a session with them, that it's about love that I'm creating for them. And I tell them that they can take this love with them wherever they go because it's free. It's not for me to keep. It's for me to share. And I understand that some of this knowledge, when I do a private session with you, it's more personal. It may not be all this energy and saying that I'm coming because I get more in tune with what your personal journey is. Yet at the same time, though, please, please, please connect with writing a comment or asking a question, because you'll get a short little version of what we can say in a longer version of a session. Yet at the same time, though, anything is helpful at this minute in time, and I just want people to know that you're loved. You are so loved.
And we would like this to be an interactive experience. So if you look on your screen, if you're tuning in right now, you'll see there's a comment box. And if you make a comment, then we will read the comments on the air, and we can talk about what it is that you would like to get an answer for, because that's why we are here with Life Clarifications with Natasha, so that she can interact with you. So we appreciate it. We appreciate everything that you guys are out there doing for us.
Well, thank you, and yes, exactly. And I'm going to let you know though that if you want to keep it where you just get a general question, we can read the question without having it posted on the YouTube or on the picture here. Yeah, thank you. We can read it and give a general definition of who it was from. And so if there is something more private that you're really just needing some support with, and I know we're all going through some life-altering experiences that sometimes we don't want, because when we do it up there, you see who the name is. And if you want to be more anonymous, just know that we can just say that. Please just read, or read please.
Or don't post. Just put don't post on there.
Yeah, don't post. But if you have a question, we'll answer it and we'll keep it more anonymous. And that's my gift is always, we all have private moments. We all have private lives. And that's the thing is that frankly, if I haven't done it in this lifetime, I've done it in other lifetimes. So I have no judgments. 'Cause I've done it one form or another, and I know in another past life I was a murderer, and in another past life I did certain things that I wasn't happy about, but yet that was that lifetime, and I can't hold it against me, but I can say, "You know what? I can help somebody in this lifetime if they've had a felt of shame because of something like that." Or, moments. Now, there's gonna be some, protocols with that, but I do understand those moments of life happening, and sometimes we don't expect them to happen, but we gotta survive it.
Exactly. Well, and Kayla is first up, and she's got a question that I have also had, which I would really like your expertise to, which is, why do I get visual symbols with my eyes open or closed? It doesn't seem to matter.
It doesn't, and I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people say, "Boy, you must see," and I go, "Actually, I don't see." It For me, it's almost like a movie screen in the back of my head. And yes, I know it's in the back of my head, not in the front of my head, because it's my third eye is looking back in the back of my head. And so I get visions. So, like today, earlier on our show, we were talking about auras and seeing auras. Well, I see the energy of the aura, but then my mind's eye sees that it's pink and yellow or blue or green or a multitude of colors. And so with me, that I get this vision. So it doesn't matter what my eyes see, I can still see what's going on here in my head. And so that's why you get visual symbols when your eyes are open or closed, because it's another form of your clairaudient, clairsentient, whatever the clair is that you're reaching into, being in your toolbox of tools for your intuitiveness, that's your way of their showing you the language. Like for me, when I get a message, I can hear it, I can see it, I can see it, or I just feel it. And so with there's many different facets on how one can get messages.
I get messages. It's weird because I can get messages or visions or visuals, and I can see them whether my eyes are open or closed. Like I'm assuming Kayla May is talking about, and but it's all a matter of you're getting downloads or messages from the other side, and however best they feel that you can absorb them is how they give them. Is that accurate?
Mhm. Exactly. And then it's that practice to make better, to be able to uh, understand the language. Now, for me, being intuitive my whole life, that I've had some practice with that. But now that I'm doing sessions with someone, and that's the way it's been for many, many years now, doing those sessions, I've asked my team to clarify messages so that it's a cleaner line. And so as we're growing our messages, sometimes I'll get an image of a pink rose that a loved one is giving, and for them the pink rose might mean something, and I let that be. But I also say what I'm getting from that pink rose, because I have a different way of message, because sometimes when I'm handing them the rose, I'm seeing thorns too. And so they might just hear me saying that you're receiving a pink rose, but I'm also seeing that I have to be careful how I'm holding the rose with the thorns. And so for me, that's a deeper message. Remember that even though there's a pink rose of love, that not everything has softness to it, that it's going to be a little prickly like the thorn of a rose. But just remember to protect yourself. Remember to do that navigation of working through your boundaries with love and kindness.
Now, when you and a question for you, when you are preparing to do a show like this or to do a session, have you developed a sense with your guides that because they can't talk to us verbally because they don't have vocal cords where they are, but they do have the ability to
Voice.
project images and voice and things. But do you have like a red rose always means love, or a white carnation, you know what I mean, a particular thing that they're communicating to you, a certain symbol that you have agreed that that's what that means? Does that make sense?
I know that a lot of people have done that. I can't say like with roses and stuff. Now, if there's a car wreck or like I was doing a mediumship the other day, and I had this like really like icky feeling, and it was low lungs, heart area, high digestive area, and I said that they either passed away of a heart attack or they had troubles breathing, but there was something energetic that they just had a hard time navigating this part of their body. And a lot of times that means that that person had something like a heart attack or lung cancer, or it depends on where I'm feeling it, depends on where. Now, I have asked them not to make my body ill, but to show me by just barely feeling it. So it'd be like on the outside. So there are certain things that they do for me that is routinely the same thing. Like they'll show me a car wreck, but yet I'll take that as their death was impactful. So there was like a jarring death moment and they passed quickly, or they passed in that moment where their soul was not with their body. So there's certain things like that they tell me, they show me, and it's just the collective statement for it. They'll kind of show me more outside when it's more like something like they fell off a motorcycle, but they'll show me in a car when it's more encapsulated, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And by the way, Kayla May says, let's just say that I'm all the clairs, clairvoyant, clairsentient, whatever, all put into one, but understanding light codes and symbols is another level that I'm not getting. But that, I believe, I can even answer that question, and that's only because you're new in your walk,
Mhm.
and as time goes, those will start come to you, and in the context of how they are meant for you to interpret them. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are. And I'm going to say that I am not adverse in a lot of things. Like for me, like the last show, we talked about how one of the gentlemen's was going to need to do some protection. So I just got off the phone with him, and I know Eric wouldn't mind me saying this, to do some work. But I went to my crone in a past life because I was a crone in a past life. So I went to her for my knowledge. So with that when you're getting some new tools, that sometimes if we don't have the knowledge by reading books or doing that kind of thing, that like for me, doing the witch, doing my Wiccan work, do I know exactly what green candle represents and that kind of thing? And well, green candle represents prosperity. I just heard from my crone. So with that there's different meanings for different things. Now, do I have my book of knowledge in front of me to do my research? No, but I have my book of lives that I allow to interact with me, which helps me. And that's how I use my tool bag.
And Kayla says, well, it's just darn frustrating is all. And it will be. But as time goes and you get clearer, and the
Mhm.
meditation that you're doing is a great way to do that, to get clear as to what you want, it will begin to show up. She's got, I have to tell you, Natasha, we're talking about Kayla May, who came to the show a couple of months ago. She is really, I don't know if it's because of the show or it was
Yes.
the timing, but she is opening up like a spring flower or a sunflower that is just
Yeah,
going.
when you're around like-minded beings and you're in alignment, it's amazing how it's like wham bam, thank you, ma'am. And it just
All right, I
it
wasn't
comes
allowed to do
on.
that. Yeah.
And the thing is though, when we know we got it, we want it now, but it's our physical mind that needs to process it. And it's our physical body that is accepting it. And it's also that understanding that my spirit can work with it and walk with it. And this is an image that one of my teachers taught me, that we have a gatekeeper. I have an understanding. My gatekeeper, he's an ancient one. He came to me when my soul was first awakened from spirit, from maker, from that creation. There we go. And he has this clipboard that has, Natasha's blonde, she's 5 foot, she's shy. I gotta erase that one. She's not shy anymore. you know, but I had to go through and check what was on my clipboard. Oh, she channels. Yes, she channels. We used to not allow anybody. Oh, but now we're allowing this, and this being to come in. Oh, wait a minute. She's always known about past lives, but wait a minute. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G that she can do now with them. And so with that, that as we're working into things, check in with what your inner knowings, your gatekeeper, I'm calling it, is allowing to come in your to be your toolbox, because sometimes we have to, if it's in permanent marker, get it in uh, erasable ink, erase the erasable ink, write it in pencil so that your body, your mind, your spirit can say, oh yeah, and then you rewrite it in, and you may have to write it in pencil first, so everybody, your whole team gets used to what you can do now, and then you write it in pen, and then you write it in permanent pen because it's going to stick around. So with that, well, as long as you want it to stick around, otherwise you're going to have to go and erase it again. So with that, there's just these moments where when we're working on things and bringing these new awarenesses in, sometimes our team who's been around for a while aren't up to date on our new knowings and kind of are putting a la 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 into it.
Well, it's interesting because, as you know, I've been doing this for a while, and I've had lots of experience with other folks as far as other mediums who everybody's got their own style, and that's what makes
A
it
note.
beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and their own tool set and all of that. But Kayla May, this is what I would. By the way, she says, um, she feels like a butterfly. She can be free with when she's around us and this group of people. And she's breaking out of her shell, and she's happy as a clam. Now, this
Mm-hmm.
is what I would like you to do. And first of all, because my friend that I've known for 20 years, Kim Miller, she has her, and she is a gatekeeper as well. And her gatekeeper's name is Samuel. And what Samuel does is he protects her from anybody
Yes.
coming in to her space from the other side. So he vets them, the
Mm-hmm.
spirits on the other side, because everybody's lined up because they go, there's
Bright
one.
light,
That one can talk to me. That one
bright
I
light.
can get. Yeah. So what she does is, so this is what I want you to do, Kayla May. I
Or
want
somebody else.
or anybody that's listening that would like to get more connection. I would like you to get a pen and a paper. And then I would like you to ask a question. Put the question at the top of the paper. And then I want you to close your eyes and let your brain set aside. And then I want you to start writing the words word by word. Don't think ahead. Don't think about what you're writing. Don't think about anything. Just word by word. The first word that comes into your head. First word that comes into your head. And do that for a while. And as an example, a good question to ask would be, who's my gatekeeper? And then that's what's called automatic writing. And
Mhm,
you do that, and then you're allowing, as Natasha just said, they don't necessarily know what's in your mind or how they want how you want to organize what
mhm.
you're doing as you're going forward. So you write that down, you get your gatekeeper, and then he then becomes in charge of talking to the spirits on the other side, so that you don't get bombarded all the time and stuff like that, and you can be protected. And we were going to talk about energy and protection a little bit on this show, so
Yes,
that's kind
yes,
of a good
yes, yes,
segue.
yes, yes. And protection is kind of one of those elusive words. And, like it was brought up in the last show that we did, that one person doesn't like using the word protection. I am not afraid of using the word protection. I understand, though, that my boundaries are very flexible, movable, and they breathe in, they breathe out. If somebody's a little more pushy with energy, I'll be a little more pushy back, but I may be more reclusive here because my one that I trust is a little bit less energetic here. So, it's like my energy might move around, and with that, as we're working, as we're doing things, we're opening up our energy, and we become a bigger bright light. I'm going to say something though about names. Okay, names. When somebody tells you their name, that means that you take power over them. So be careful about, like my dragon, he's asked me to call him Elder. That is not his true name, but that is the name he goes by because of the fact that he knows that we are partners. But I am no means his own, I'm not to own him. And that's where my spirit name that I was given through my spirit. I don't tell anybody that name because that is my name and nobody will take ownership over me. So with that take the name they give you and trust that's good enough. And if it doesn't feel right to you, take the name they give you because it may not be their true name, but it's the name of the spirit and the moment that they're with you with until you build up a partnership with them. And then they might shift their name a little bit. Kind of like for me, that I grew up with a best friend in spirit world, Peter. And when I became an adult, I found out that was Saint Peter because Peter needed to be Peter, flexible, lighthearted, movable Peter. He didn't need to be on a pedestal, Saint Peter, because I would have put him on a pedestal as a kid. But as an adult, he knew I wouldn't. So that's when I got to know him differently.
And Kayla May also says she just asked who her gatekeeper was, and it said the father of all. So, and if that is the term by which you can access your guide, and it may be the father of all, and it may be a representative of that, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It
it-
doesn't matter. It
and
really doesn't matter. And as we do that, because I know for a fact that one has Mother Mary as a gatekeeper. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just knowing that get a relationship with them, get a communion with them, find the trust with them. I know when I tapped into mine, he doesn't give me his name. He won't. He he's like this, but I know him. I trust him with my life, with my being, with my life's being because of that value, even if I don't have a name for him.
now, question for you. And first of all, let's talk to Susan real quick. Welcome to the show, Susan. Thank you for being here. Great tip, she says. I've discovered that as I've walked a path of healing, my intuitive connection has grown, and I'm more aware of how I connect these days. Very good. And keep doing that. Now, I did want to ask you, because you've referenced St. Peter, you've referenced Mother Mary, and in the past you've referenced, I believe, Gabriel and some others. But is that because of your human filter connection to the Christian God, or is that totally separate from that?
It's because they call me sister. They call me sister. My soul is, we all have DNA. If you look at our body, it's the DNA of like maybe Irish, English, South American, Brazilian, whatever our DNA is. Well, so is our soul. Well, I would say that I'm primarily angel in my soul. And that's why I walk with love so easily and so gracefully. And sometimes my humanness struggles a little bit with boundaries and what verbalization. Yet at the same time, though, my soul walks with that. And with that, that's why I connect so much with them. Now, does that mean that I sit down and I've talked to with my brother who is in the star world right now. He's a star being. He chose that lifetime, and so he's helping me in his world, in my world. And so with that, connecting with them, I work with dragons. I work with many different realms, the fairy kingdom, it's just one of my things, but yet with me, they are my go-to. They are my fall back into. When I'm needing someone to fall back into, it's that fall back into support. It usually is them because it's just home. It's just home. Like to be sitting on another planet is home. I don't like cliffs here in this world or in like if I'm going to a cliff uh like the Grand Canyon, looking over the cliff there, I have a very hard time. Ask me in meditation to walk out in space and I have no problems.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's just where home is.
See, I just see my group. I equate it as like a boardroom. Have
Mhm,
you ever been in a boardroom?
mhm,
When you've got the CEO and the CFO and the head of human resources, and
mhm,
you've got the different department heads.
mhm,
I feel like I've got 10 or 20 of those people that are sitting around a boardroom saying, okay, how are we going to move this thing forward? So they're moving together to come up with a battle plan to move everything forward as it's supposed to be. And then there is someone, I call him Benjamin, it doesn't matter. But there's somebody that is responsible for relaying the message of the all to the individual through me
mhm.
or to me. And so that way
That's usually
they're,
the higher self.
yeah, and what they do is they give me the message, then they also give me the signs, and they give me the blueprint of the signs so that I get what I'm supposed to get, so that when a sign comes, I understand it and move forward through it. Is that how it works for you, or is it different?
No, actually, my team, my tool bag, my where Elder sits, my dragon, where Angel sit, my dyslexic self sits, my scared self sits, my past life when I was a schizophrenic sits because I'm multitasking is amazing to me. Um, and so with that, and I have like the King Arthur's round table, and that's where everybody sits. Nobody is one stronger than the other. Now, I'll say though that I my higher self stands in the middle of the table because I'm the piece of the puzzle that's important in this lifetime. But Elder, my dragon, I don't want to say is the leader, but is the voice. He just said, "I'm the voice," and it's not necessarily. It's just the one that says, call to action, guys. Come on. Get your stuff together. He's the one that usually speaks up first and says she needs protection now, or something like that. But yet at the same time, my dyslexic, shy, quiet Natasha, when everybody's trying to talk over, Elder will say, "Shh, we honor."
Now, don't you believe? At least I believe that they form a battle plan and they make a consensus.
Yes,
Once that consensus is reached on how best to proceed, then they relay that information to us. Um,
yes.
and
Now,
Kate,
now I also understand that round table sits in a room. And some people think of it as a bus. Some people think of it. I have one person that she made it like a fire pit area where
sure,
people would sit. It doesn't matter where it is, and that's where the guides come in. New guides, because we always get new guides when we're doing something. Like if we're writing a book, we'll have guides to help us write a book. If we're going to go into a new job, we'll have the guides to help us. So that's that room. But sometimes that room gets a little bit full and we need to ask some of the guides to move out. And that's the thing is I have my core team that sits around the table, but there's a couple extra chairs there for the team members that come in to help me through a situation.
gotcha. Now, Kayla also says I asked who my guides are and got Mary, Mike, John, Chris, and Ventum, and a
Mhm.
shitload more coming in. This is interesting.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that and you can ask in an hour and you might get different names because that's how many teams in our tool bag we have.
But the important thing to remember is they are all there by design to support us because we are, as Kayla May would say, the badass that's sitting on the planet
Mhm.
and who's
So
having
you
the.
use badger. So badger is a magical animal. I love badger. Actually, my husband has been badger many times in my lifetime, and I've used uh, my uh, uh, my elder elephant. She's the queen of the herd, and she comes in. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. And
And
she
bless you
comes
very much.
and she comes in and she knows how to honor my husband who's badger or um and yet stands firm with him, meets energy with energy. And so with that animal spirits, oh my gosh, there I have so many in my wheelhouse that it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and animals, are true. They are they're psychic,
Mhm.
as Coriel and I'll talk about on Tuesdays, and it's amazing that they transcend that and go to the other side, and they have a vested interest in our success as well. And that's, I guess, the point of this
That's
is
what
what
their
I'm
job is, to
yeah,
help us.
it's what I'm trying to get across to everybody is even when you don't think you do, you do. There are people that are looking out after you on the other side, and if you know that and take solace in that, you can get through friggin' anything.
Exactly, exactly. Like one night, my mind just went haywire. It would not shut up. And so I believe that my mind, my spirit, and my emotions and my body all sit at that round table too. And sometimes they have their own separate table that they need to go sit at and have a conversation because they're physically here in this lifetime. Well, my mind would not shut up. And so, you know those talking sticks that you have that you can do the talking sticks? Well, I asked my mind to come to my round table. So I pictured my mind and in its energy form that it was and asked it to come to the round table. And I said, nobody here, my higher self or whoever I was in that spirit realm, I said, nobody at this table can speak without the talking stick. And my mind grabbed for the stick and I said, and I handed it to Dragon. And the reason why I handed it to Elder is because I know that nobody challenges Elder when an Elder stands in her power or in his power. And so, and he politely handed it straight over to someone else. And it started going around, and my mind was like, and then I said, shh, you're not supposed to allowed to speak. So what that did was it let my mind quiet down enough, even though it was mumbling a lot. Yes, people think I should maybe be in a silent assailant sometimes, but this is the truth. It's using your tools, right? And so I ended up being able to quiet my mind down to where I could sleep meditatively enough to get rest to do my day for that day. And when we use our tools, it can be amazing because by the time that my mind, the talking stick came around to my mind, she was able to speak, but she wasn't rattling off. She actually had intention what she had to say.
And Susan would like to comment that what's been cool has been seeing how my guides have evolved as I have.
Yes.
Sometimes they change out, and sometimes their appearance gets an upgrade.
Mhm.
Is that now? I got a question for you there, because is that because they are actually experiencing the upgrade, or are you allowing them to be there in their full complement of power and glory?
Yes. And yes.
Now that's a political answer for you. No, that's
So what it is that they come in what we need. They come in at the level that we're at. And as we grow and change, do you think elders stayed elder when he first came to me? No, he transformed. Actually, when I let him, he was in shackles. So he wasn't even able to say his voice. But I set him free a couple of years ago. And with that as he transformed and was set free, so was I. So with that as we work and as we do, now there's some guides that will come in as they are because we are uplifting them to that. And like I'm going to say like a muse will come in and have that inspiration to bring us up to that level to be who we're at.
now. I have a question for you about that too, and that is this: is that and by the way, Susan says it has to do with resonance, which I agree with the wholeheartedly. But as an example, I have never had unicorns or fairies, or I may have had a leprechaun because I'm Irish, and you got to have those. But everybody that is in my world that I perceive to be there is a spirit guide that are of equal value, which includes angels and everybody else.
Mhm.
They're all of equal value, and but in my mind, they're all they're all humanoid, or they're all the spirits of humans. Is there something wrong with me? Because you've got a bunch of stuff.
No, what it is that that's your go-to. That's your you're get into the room at the table ticket, is you have to have this perception. And so if you really look at it and decloak your perception, probably will find out you have somebody who can take their mask off. It's kind of like, Men in Black when they take off their mask and they really are who they are, because our guides come to us so we're comfortable, that we're willing to let them in the door. They'll come to us in a comfortable mode. For me, like St. Peter came as Peter when I was a kid, because I didn't want to be bulldozed over by having St. Peter there. But yet there was a feeling of him being bigger, but yet in my knowing he was willing to sit on the floor and play with me too.
Well, I got another question. I'm just full of questions today.
That's okay. I love questions because it leads to answers.
The other question that I have is that, well, no, it's not actually a question, it's more of a statement. And that is this. Whenever something happens that I can directly attribute to the guides or to something that happens positively, I stop, I wait, and I say, "Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. That
Yes.
was pretty awesome of you." And I don't hear, when we're talking to a lot of people about that, I don't hear them talking about that this is a two-way communication street that we're having. And you can talk to them just as easily, well, more easily than they can talk to you. And they, I think, genuinely appreciate it when you
Mhm.
appreciate them and their efforts.
Exactly. Well, you know how often I say I'm grateful.
Yes.
I probably overkill that word. Like my husband gets tired of me saying I love you. It's just putting it out there. It refills the bucket. It really refills the bucket. And that's the whole point, is that they're doing work for us. How can we help support them, support us?
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And they will do it. Oh, and Susan says, okay. Susan says, I do similar, thanking without getting a response.
Mhm.
Um, because because
They're
quite
not
frankly,
looking for thanks.
no, but you've already gotten the response by what they did.
Exactly, exactly. And so many times I ask my team, "What can I do for you? What can I do for you? You've done for me. What can I do for you?" And they just say, "Just be." Sometimes they just say, "Be you." It's not necessarily something that is magical, but that's why I light my candles. Like after I didn't get a chance because I was on the phone, but I'll light candles around, and that's part of my gratitude too, is I light a candle in the honor of my elders. Light a candle in the honor of my dragon, my dragon helpers, who helped me through walking down the street when I was a little scared, and dragon walked with me and nobody picked on me. It's amazing when we use our team, and it's a breath in, breath out, how much they do support us.
They support us continually.
Yes.
And let's see. No, we're good. We're good with those. So I love this discussion. It
Mhm.
is, it's very interesting how we all have a slightly different viewpoint of when we look, because you've got all kinds of animals. Of course, on the other hand, I got nothing in here other than my electronics, and you got hundreds of dollars worth of rocks and
Yeah.
and and dragons and all that kind of stuff. I haven't got a room for any of that stuff, but
Well, it's called the ability to say no.
I see.
Um, but it's that representation. Now, and I ask my team that when I'm supposed to get rid of something, I say, "Okay," because I don't want them to take it away from me. But I do have a lot in my wheelhouse that represents me, that represents, and I understand in this human form that I'm in today, and working through things. My mom was a hoarder. And so I've kind of tried to balance this mode of balancing this or that, and I'm able to say no, but sometimes there's stones that just say, "You gotta take me home." Like this guy here, like this guy here, um, he wanted to come home with me because of where he was being placed before, and I couldn't tell him no. I couldn't tell them no. And they gave me the money. I always tell my team, if you want me to get something, you got to give me the cash to be able to get it. You have to. I cannot do this without your help. If you want me to have that, bring it to me. And guess what? They usually do.
Well, you know what? The longer I get to know you, the more I appreciate your husband.
Yes, I do. That's why I say I love you so much. Um,
Because he walked, because most guys would walk in, what the hell did you buy now?
Yeah,
And
I kinda
are we
do the
gonna?
sneaky thing. It's just walking in the house, and it kinda be but I'm lucky because my mother-in-law, my wonderful mother-in-law, I love her so much. She would constantly rearrange the furniture on her family, and so
Somebody don't
she
tell her to take
kinda got
inventory.
here used to things always changing.
So unless you were to take inventory, you wouldn't know if there was something new added.
No, and he comes on it he comes, innocently, honestly, by himself. Now he does not that's why I have my own bank account and he has his, because he doesn't always see eye to eye on how we spend money, nor, but, we both have our tools, we both have our ways of navigating. I save money, he does it in his own way, and we get where we're going together.
See, and that's
It
what.
takes 2 oars in the boat, and hopefully we're doing it in the same action, so we're getting somewhere.
See, that's why I live alone now, because it used to be I'd go look at my bank account and go, "What the hell happened? Where'd that go?" And sometimes I never did find out. By the way, Kayla May says we all see things different. This is why more people need to openly use their 90% of imagination to make things appear better. 10% is real facts. The rest of it is in our mind's eye. Go with the flow and embrace. We are all a unique individual. Do you agree with that?
I totally do, because it is perception. That's the thing that when I stand in observer mode of my life, even when if it's having a I'm gonna pick on my husband here. Even when it's, having an argument with my husband, I try to take different perspectives, because the reality is, there's tension between us. Ah, another perception is, he's tired and I'm tired. Another perception is, he had a long day, I had a day. Mm. Another perception is, oh, communication. We're working on communication, aren't we? Oh, Mercury's in retrograde. That's right. Okay, working on communication here. So getting a different perception. Now, can I be really angry with him if I know that he's really tired? No. I can say, "You know what, babe? Let's wait to have this conversation until we're a little bit better off," and doing things like that. So taking those different perceptions gave me different eyesight on where things are at to help me move forward out of the reality that is. And so it just gives it a chance for love to come in and shift things a little bit.
It's always handy to have a mate who understands your habits and stuff. And Kayla's publicly saying Winston, every time I say that name, it reminds me of a pack of cigarettes. But I thank Winston for understanding my habits with crystals, because she, like you, has a crystal fetish.
It's hard not to, especially when you talk to them. Especially when you talk to rocks. They are very knowledgeable. They are they're the oldest thing on this planet. They are the timekeepers. So if you hold a rock and you check into its timekeeping, oh, you can get some magical information from it. That's why, like I'm walking across the playground at school and I pick up a rock and people are going, "Why are you picking up rocks?" I go, "Well, for one, it asked me to get it out of the playground so it doesn't keep getting kicked." It's like But they call us the two-legger movers because sometimes you'll walk by a rock and it says, "Flip me over, please." It's like, so you flip it over and it gets a different perspective. It's just amazing when we're working. I have rocks that say to me when I have them on the beach, I say, I get that feeling that it wants me to carry it. And then it says, and I ask several questions actually. I say, "Would you like me to move you?" And I hear yes. "Would you like me to take me home? Would you like me to take you home?" Sometimes I hear no. And sometimes I hear I would miss the water. And then sometimes it'll say, "Take me home, but put me in your fountain."
Ah,
So I communicate with how is it, because I have to have its permission to move it, right?
I would think, unless it. Well, yeah, yes, I would think. I was going to make a flip comment, but I decided
That's
not.
okay. I people call me, a little. Oh, my husband says, "I'm surprised I haven't put you in in that room for knowing." The more that I find out where your mind is going, I go, yeah. When you talk with a team, this is the conversations you have. And sometimes I play video games on my phone just to get corner of my mind occupied so that I can hold a conversation with the people around me that are 3D, because otherwise I'm pretty distracted.
Do you find though that by association that your husband is kind of adopting some of your things and the words that you use and the way that it's and he doesn't probably even know that he's doing it, but it's just kind of by osmosis.
He does, and there was quite a while where he would definitely not admit to it. And then the other day he walked in and he goes, "Your fairies decided to go up into my nose because I was getting into their spot." I said, "Well, I told you not to trim in that corner because the way you go in and trim, you don't ask permission." And I said, "Well, how did you know it was fairies?" And it wasn't a bug, because it went specific places that they knew they would bug me. And I had to
Oh,
stop and I said, "See, I told you they didn't want you to go in that corner. I will go in. What would you like it to look like? I will go in and modify what they want and what you want. And I'll have a conversation with them first, because fairies like to have knowings. They don't like, as much as they surprise us, they don't like to be surprised themselves, I'm finding."
oh. Now, do you have any leprechauns in your life?
I choose to ask my guardians to have them outside.
Leprechauns? You got to have leprechauns in your life, you know.
I do not need leprechauns in my life. Thank you very
They're
much.
they're fun.
I don't
I
need that.
would
They're
guess.
fun.
I don't
Now
know.
you're talking to a woman who lost her glasses twice in 1 month, who lost her remote control for 6 months and found it up in a drawer that I never really got into. And why would I put it with a pillow? It's like, why would I find my glasses? And ask them to bring them back, and a kid brought them back on the playground, or I found them by the couch that I looked 5 times at, and even used my hand to feel that it wasn't there, and yet it was there the 6th time that I turned around and I went, "There you are."
Now, was that after the fifth or sixth glass of wine?
I don't drink.
Well, if
My
you
my high is when I have too much sugar.
if you did drink, you'd have a built-in excuse
Yeah,
anyway.
no, 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 I have not been able to drink. The last time I drank anything, I was 21, and I had that much of a screwdriver. And both sides of the room was spinning both ways at the same time.
Oh,
Not a healthy thing for me.
those are
I
good
get
times.
almost like a allergic reaction to alcohol or anything else that I take in that's not of health.
My son is that way. He can drink a little bit, but if he goes a little bit too far, it goes from being happy, happy, happy to being hugging, hugging, hugging the toilet
Mhm.
in a very short period of time. So
Yeah,
he's
I don't.
it's best for him not to either.
it's a little interesting up here normally. Sometimes I wish I could drink just to calm things down a little bit, or when I'm going through some troubles, there's been a time I wish I could have delayed the interaction of it for about 24 hours, but I haven't had that choice, so I've had to smack things and get through them right away. Have them hit me and just say, "Okay, I'm moving through it."
As well you can. How do you recommend people when they are having a bad day? How do you recommend that they work through it?
Breathe. First breathe. Take a breath. Take a breath. And then look at it. Look at it like it's on a chalkboard. Look at it like it's in front of you like a path. And understand that this is a path that when we first notice something, that it's the first reaction that's going to come to us. And then once we breathe, we see it for what it is, start seeing the steps behind it. It's not a wall. Start seeing the steps behind it. And pretty soon, if you remember to keep breathing, which is practice makes better, that helps you move through that scenario. That's the only way to do it with grace is to keep walking forward through it. And sometimes we have to take that moment. Sometimes we have to cry. Sometimes we have to let things. I mean, I even had a show where something happened to me. What did you see me do? I acknowledged it. I took a moment to breathe. I took a moment to move through it, and I saw what it was. And then I was willing to see that the destination was going to change from the moment things happened. Things were going to change when I had that interaction with whatever was going on. And the more that I would move through it was giving that moment a chance to change.
And speaking of change and moving through it, we've got I've committed that we are going to keep all our episodes under an hour so that I can replay them and stuff. So it's time for you to get your cards out, girl, because
Okay.
you got 8 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay. So angel, fairy, or oracle? Somebody type in
Anybody have an idea? Who would you like to? Who would you
angel,
like?
fairy, or oracle. So oracle, angel, or fairy. Fairy,
Um,
Kayla says. Thank you, Kayla.
Kayla wins.
Kayla wins. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know it takes a minute, Kevin, to type it in.
Oh yeah. Oh no,
Oh,
Veronica says
Veronica
Oracle.
says Oracle. Okay, so I'll pull from Oracle too. Okay, so the question I'm going to ask my cards and the fairies to bring in the energy. What what I know. I love fairies too. I ask them to be kind to me because mine are quite mischievous. I yeah, they yeah, so I will do both. Okay. So with that, um what is something that they can say to us that will be helpful for our future? So as I'm okay. And then I heard, okay, so and this is where my eyes said summer. Summer. Everything that you're asking for becomes yours in the summertime. So remember, our wording, whew, remember, our wording makes a difference what we're asking for. So if we're asking for, oh, my knee hurts, oh, my back hurts, oh, I'm struggling with my financials. Struggling with my financials. Hmm. What am I asking for? I am free from any struggle I have with my financials. I am free from any struggle I have with my financials. So remember, what are you truly asking for? Because the summer, it can come. Okay, I'm hearing one more card from them. That's it. Okay. Now this one's upside down. So upside down to me, when I get a card that's upside down, means is that if we change our perception, it will have a clear path. I don't even know what it is. Emotional healing. Okay. So many of us are working through our emotions. Our emotions. So your heart heals of old emotional pain. You receive new blessings and love. So I'm going to read that again. As your heart heals of old emotional pains, You receive new blessings and love. So, with that, talking to our emotions like friends, knowing where our emotions come from, it's not always the mind that needs to be talking. It may be our heart that needs to cry a little bit or just say, I'm scared. Okay, you're scared. I know you're scared. Come on. Just like taking our kid by the hand and saying, we can do it. I'll show you how to do it. Let's go forward and do it. Because as we interact with our emotions more, we'll have emotional healing. Okay, so I heard 2. So now I'm going to do oracle cards. Okay. So the Doreen Virtue Fairy deck is what that was. This is the Claudette Baron Reed, and she has the oracle cards. And okay, okay. I guess it's 3 cards. They already knew. They already knew. Ooh. Okay. So B came out. B is amazing. It's about luck. In industrious, sweet victory. So keep moving forward. It's about doing the work. It's doing the concept. Remember, our physical body needs to move as much as our mental mind works, but also know B is about community. Okay. The other day I heard a bunch of buzzing and I looked down on a flower and one bee was taking the excess pollen off of another bee so it can fly. It was so magical. They were having a conversation because their wings were buzzing and they were loud. It's about community. One bee cannot live without another bee. So remember that it's all about us working together to get our bigger picture. Kevin and I are doing that. Kayla, May, and Kevin are doing that. How can we work together? Ask for help. Because as we have the eagle eye of the eagle has greater vision. Look at the greater vision. Sometimes what's happening in front of us is not necessarily what's going to happen later. So trust that as we're flying over high, we can get a bigger vision of what's going to happen, because not always what we're seeing is what's going to happen. Now, if we're looking for a new job, remember, what is your concept? I want a job who can show light into my life. I want a job that can interact with me. I can have family-ish feelings of community with my new job. Get the bigger vision. So spirit, integrity, connection with the angelic realm. Remember, we work with help. It's helpfulness that we can do. And it's also about being gentle with yourself. So deer, how does deer walk through the woods? They trust their instincts. They trust their intuitiveness. They trust when something bad happens to them, they shoo away from it and then they shake it off and then they keep walking forward, eyes visioned. Be gentle with yourself. Female deer means being gentle. Because as we're going through the changes and we're going through this new thing, it's about our self-judgments we got to be gentle with ourselves with. So gentleness and diplomacy. So just remember that we'll have emotional healing this summer if we work with our community, have the greater vision, and be gentle with ourselves.
Very well done, and you came in under time too.
I
Under
did.
time and under budget. Very nice, very nice. So, would you give us any last thoughts you have before we close out this podcast, my dear?
I would love to support anyone who is in need of help with a session, a private session. You can go to angelicclarifications.com, and guess what? I'm having it redone, and within a week we should be able to do it on the calendar and set up your sessions through my website. I'm excited. So with that, as we're growing and as we're changing and coming out into the new, it's kind of like a turtle it's popping its head out from its shell. Trust the new vision you're seeing for yourself, but be gentle with yourself because we are practicing to do better. So remember, we didn't walk for the first time. We didn't ride our bike for the first time. We had to practice. Remember, practice yourself your way through life because things are happening. And even if we've been doing our jobs all along, it's a whole new energy out there now. So if you need help, Remember, I can help you and support you in that. Natasha at angelicclarifications.com.
Very well done. You did it. See, I'm trying to be a lot more professionally managed here so that I can do a replay of this. So we've got 15 seconds. So I just wanted to say to everybody, follow Natasha and
Like her page, like my page, and then
and
all
all that
that kind of
stuff.
thing.
All that stuff. And we'll see you next Wednesday at 4:00 for another episode of Life Clarifications with Natasha. Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.